Let's begin.
You know that a pig is a grafted animal. It's three animals put together: a cat, a rat, and a dog. It was a eugenics experiment that mixed their genetic makeup to produce the pig. Think about it. Does it not look like a rat a little bit? And it barks like a dog. Even the Bible in the book of Isaiah mentions the swine and the mouse together because they are connected. But inside a pig, you have these natural enemies, cats, rats, and dogs, living together. That means the nature of a pig is self-conflicted. And remember, you are what you eat.
I don't see the similarities between a rat and a pig, like he said. He said, doesn't a pig kind of look like a rat? No. Where did the nose structure come from? That seems kind of unique to itself. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it does seem to be a little bit of a stretch. I don't know. I'd almost hate to see the theories of what human beings would be a mix of at that point.
Did you guys know that the word dinosaur never existed until 1842, coined by a guy named Sir Richard Owen in England? And then, did you know the Bone Wars started in 1877? This is when dinosaurs all of a sudden started to exist. And it was so much rivalry that they were lying, cheating, faking, everything. It was all lies. But the Bone Wars stopped in 1892. And guess what? From 1877 to 1892, 130 dinosaurs were found. All the famous ones too. But guess what disappeared during that time? Dragons. They got rid of the term dragons that existed for thousands and thousands of years, and they moved it to dinosaurs. Folks, dinosaurs never existed. It was always dragons. And they just made up so much BS, just like all these other things that the government does. And then I'm not sure why society decided, let's just go with these and decide that dragons don't exist. It's very strange, but I'll tell you what. I teach dragons to my kids, and I'll never teach dinosaurs. Dinosaurs didn't even exist. Look in dictionaries of early 1900s. The word dinosaur didn't exist, but dragons did exist. It literally didn't even get into the dictionary until the early 20th century. Dinosaurs are not real, folks. Let me know what you think. And of course, for entertainment purposes only. I know dinosaurs are real, dragons are fake, and I should believe what I'm taught.
Okay. All right. So maybe the story he's given is accurate. Dragons were once upon a time real. Dinosaurs were not once. Who cares? They're not around right now anyway. It's arguing over semantics at that point. Neither of them are around right now. And it's just which version of history do you choose to believe? You can't prove it either way. We have no say of what, for instance, when I'm casually talking to my friends, I'll throw out a conspiracy as a joke. I talk about this often. I say it as a joke, but I also, I'm half serious about it because, I recognize how possible a lot of these conspiracies really are. I don't say them as factual, a lot of, this individual, I teach my kids dragons were real and dinosaurs weren't. And it's okay, but how do you know? How do you know that? I don't understand the point in believing one thing like that so adamantly, whereas that could be a complete fabrication as well. We haven't seen anything in real life that's anywhere near either of these things. I mean, I guess maybe crocodiles, a big ass crocodile is kind of like dinosaurs, and maybe to a degree birds are kind of like dinosaurs or whatever, but I don't understand the certainty in believing that dragons were definitely once upon a time a thing. I mean, maybe they were. That'd be badass. I wish I could see. I wish I could find out the truth.
Agenda 2030. Check this out. One world government. One world cashless currency. One world central bank. One world military. End of national sovereignty. End of privately owned property. End of the family unit. Mandatory vaccines. Universal basic income. Microchipped tracking for all. World social credit system. thousands of FG towers, end of private transportation, end of private farms, business owned by government, travel restrictions, restricted land use. This is Agenda 2030. This is what they on. This is what they are. This is 5 years from today. 5 years. This is all people got. You got 5 years, fam. Share this ping out. You got 5 years. This is their agenda. So you can have an opinion. You say what you want to about how you feel. This is what their mission is. What up?
Yep. That's what they've been claiming for a long ass time. And guess what? When 2030 rolls around, it's going to be Agenda 2040 or Agenda 35 or whatever. It's all fear harvesting. This is all just probably put out by the people that they're claiming are going to be doing this as a way to get them to be in fear. Like, this is all loosh harvesting. Like, all I see here is an extreme for people to latch onto. Fear, like, it just is essentially bullet pointed. Fear, 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 worry, worry, worry. Certain people can latch onto it and help spread this, and that is more valuable to them than what the implementation of it would yield. You know, think about it. The powers that be they already have what they want. They already have everything they want. Why would they change it? You know, like, does that make sense? Right now, they stand to gain more from everybody worrying about everything, and the division so deep in everything, and identity politics, and your favorite team of choice and your organization of choice, and just hone in on you are part of this or you are that, and therefore you are not something else. And the division is so deep, it's wild. Maybe I'm just overthinking it and I'm a paranoid schizo, but it really does seem this way.
You ever seen this map from 1587? Like this one with the bird carrying an elephant? It's quite crazy. There's so many crazy drawings and depictions here. And I'll go over a few of them with you and let you comment on them. But it was quite interesting. All the depictions. And as you'll see, there's no ice and there's land all the way around. And then up in the Americas, they have a griffin up there, which I thought was pretty cool. But there are drawings everywhere. I mean, everywhere, where you have this character here, which is really interesting. And then down here, you have everything really close, which it's not like that anymore. And we'll go ahead and kind of go across here so you can see more of the craziness. Another large, wild-looking bird. Sea creatures. There's your mermaid on the side here. Here's where they have the dates. And then they have sayings all throughout here, all the different territories. And all along this area, they have all these different depictions like this. Or like that. Or like that. Just wild. And it keeps going. There's more and more. It just doesn't stop. This is probably one of the most interesting maps I've ever seen. And as you'll see here too. Oops, let me just do it the other way. Sorry. As you go further, you see even more interesting characters all throughout. Very interesting map. It's pretty wild looking there. Just all the different animal depictions everywhere. And then these. And then again below you have all the different descriptions. And then some of the different royalty in their descriptions as well. It's pretty wild. Here, we'll flip it again so we can see some more stuff. Check that one out, huh? It's pretty wild. Anyways, just wanted to share this map with you. There's so much more to dive into. We're just on the outskirts of it. I've done a couple videos. You can go back and check my past videos as well. See the different videos I've done on this. But it is quite interesting. Anyways, as always, I'll do some more videos of this. Stay curious, y'all.
It does make me curious on whether or not these are depictions of fiction or not, because they do say, a lot of these ancient creators, they painted or they depicted what they saw. And yeah, that's entirely possible, but does that mean they don't have an imagination as well? Maybe they didn't have imagination way back when? I don't know. It's tough to say. I guess I would have to take a look at the context, because you would presumably be able to find out whether or not it was an overall work of fiction or a real, authentic way to document real life.
I don't think dinosaurs existed. I think the Matrix made them up completely. So the Matrix is telling us that these creatures lived from 240 to 66 million years ago. All right. And they got wiped out because an asteroid hit the Earth and created an ice age. And you guys understand that this is fake information, right? This is evolutionary propaganda. And also, they created these creatures in order to hide the fact that giants existed, because they found giant, bones in these burial mounds. And the Smithsonian was like, you know what? We need to explain away why these giant humanoid bones are here. So let's just say these reptile creatures lived millions of years ago. And that'll solve it, because they believe everything we say. They'll take that. Okay. LIES. Okay, you guys know what that spells, right? Cap. Look at this. The T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, completely disproportionate. How is he holding his upper body? Hold on, let me show you. Look where his legs are, his tail back there, and then look at all that weight up there. So, the tail is going to balance this way. If he falls, how does he get up? With those little arms, he just pivots off of his head. It just seems like he's not built right. He's bad built. And I don't think these creatures are real. I don't think God made any of these things. And these are all casts. They just pour some type of resin or whatever in a cast to create these bones. I don't think any of this stuff is real. And then the fossil fuels from these dinosaurs, right? Fossil fuels originate from the remains of ancient plants and animals that were buried under layers of rock and sediment over millions of years. So it's rare. You better, salvage it, because it takes a long time to get new fossil fuels, right? That's fake information. Fossil fuels are not renewable. I think there's an unlimited supply of these fuels, but they want to create a scarcity mindset and have control over the supply and jack up the prices. So they'll say it takes a long time to create new fossil fuels, but in reality, it's unlimited. But they don't want you to know that. And then people say, we know how old these bones are because of carbon dating. No, carbon dating is only reliable up to 50,000 years. Okay, because of carbon-14's half-life. So even if these bones were real, you wouldn't even be able to tell how old they actually are, because carbon dating is unreliable. I don't think any of this. I think these are all fake. These are all made up creatures, mythical.
Perhaps they were not all mythical. Maybe some of them were legitimate creatures. Who knows? But it does seem like some of them are definitely not anatomically accurate. Like he was saying, like some of them, like it doesn't make sense that that would balance out. The tail was not long enough to balance out that much weight. Maybe our sense of, physics and anatomy is off, though.
Homes, they were in charge of the genealogies, the knowledge, and the technologies, and they would kidnap people.
People say they are responsible for taking people through portals, disappearances, missing 411.
So when we look at the different types of elves, these are the dark elves. White elves are part of the pale white bloodline. It's an allegory for the giants. So when they show up in the Lord of the Rings, these are the royal elves. They have these very pale skin. They have red hair, blue eyes.
Are these genetic offspring of the Watchers, or are they going to be part of what we consider to be sort of like the angelic race?
They would be subject to the same issues that the giants. When their body dies, that spirit is released. It doesn't go to heaven.
So there's like a vast variety of demons.
It's the elementals that are obsessed with DNA and keeping their bodies alive, whereas the giants disappeared into our race.
That guy seems like he'd be a blast to have a conversation with. I don't necessarily believe any of that, but he seems like he'd have a good conversation regardless. Are you an NPC? Let me know.